about how I found out I was pregnant at 2 weeks. Literally at 2 weeks, y'all. I'm not even lying. So this is not in no specific order or anything like that, but it's kind of off the top of my head. But I'm gonna try to, like, you know, make it as timelined. Is that what I say? Timelined as possible, so y'all can backtrack and really, you know, get the vision. Yeah. So let's backtrack all the way to September. So matter of fact, let's backtrack to freaking July. So in July, my husband and I had been talking about a baby for like the longest. Like, y'all, 2 years in. We've been together for almost 4 years, but we would always talk about, you know, having a baby. So my husband and I never really slipped up. Like, we always protected ourselves. We always you know, we was just really cautious. July 2023, we really was talking about it like real heavy, like real heavy. Like, it was crazy. And I just remember us thinking like, dang, like this is gonna be the time. But it wasn't the time. After that, I didn't really think nothing about it. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, like, you know, this is gonna happen on God's timing. And so after that, I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna happen this year. It's probably not gonna happen next year. In my head, in my mind, I'm thinking like maybe when I get 24, 25-ish, something like that. So time had went by. It gets to be September. And so we weren't really trying, but we weren't really not trying, if that makes sense. Yeah, so September came and I was more like, babe, I want a baby. Like, I think it's time for us to have a baby. But I wasn't really, I ain't know nothing for real, y'all. I'm just talking for real. So I'm like, babe, I think it's time for us to have a baby. Like, and so he was like, in due time. And I'm like, okay, like, I wasn't thinking nothing of it because obviously it's gonna happen on God's timing. And so one night we in the bed just laying down chilling, and he like, babe, I think it's time. He didn't even say I think it's time. He said, babe, it's time. Like, I know it in my heart. I feel it in my spirit. Like, it's time for us to reproduce. And so I'm like, I'm thinking it's just, you know, the little talk. Like, I'm thinking he's just talking, y'all. And so I didn't believe it. I didn't take nothing like serious. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so I was like, really? And so I let it marinate in a little bit. I'm like, is he being for real? So I asked him, I'm like, you for real? Like, you dead serious? I honestly did not know like if he was serious or not. So September the 4th or 5th, I think, was the official day that we started like trying. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is real. And so some time had went by, about I think a week and a half, September 5th to September the 16th. So I think that's like 11 days. That's not even a full 2 weeks. And we had got some bad news that my great grandmother had passed away. And I'm like, dang, like, you know, I was just devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, this is crazy. But in the back of my mind, I knew we had been trying to have a baby. So I'm like, babe, let's go take a pregnancy test. Because at that point, we both wanted to hear some good news. So I'm like, babe, let's go to the store and buy a pregnancy test. And I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm not expecting to be pregnant. I'm not like expecting to, like, you know, literally be pregnant at all. I'm just thinking like, okay, you know, it's worth a shot. Like, if it say positive, it say positive. But I wasn't really thinking it was gonna say positive because it had only been 11 days. So we go to the store, we go to Target, get a little pregnancy test or whatever, and come back home. And y'all, we literally begging God. Like, we are begging God, like praying, like, please let this test be positive. And in our minds, we was just thinking like Lord, like, it's your will, you know what I'm saying? Like, we wanted a positive test, but if it wasn't positive, we weren't gonna be mad because it normally takes about 2 to 3 weeks for, you know, the conception, like the egg to plant itself, or the sperm to plant itself on the egg. We just both like, okay, it is what it is. So we get back home, open the box, take the pregnancy test, flip it down, have a little conversation or whatever. We come back to the bathroom. Did not expect the test to be positive. Let me just say that again. We flipped that test over. It was positive. Y'all, y'all, when I say I was jumping for joy, we were both so happy. And it was crazy how God like timed all of that, because I don't know, like, this is gonna sound cliche, but it was literally perfect timing. And I say that because obviously my grandmother had died, and so we was looking for like some positive news. That was like the best thing ever, like literally the best thing ever. But God really aligned that. Seriously, like, he knew he was gonna need some good news, and so baby boy came at the right time. And I know that sounds cliche, but I'm serious. Like, I'm really serious. And I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was September the 16th, because y'all know those 2 events that happened. And so some time had went along. The only person I had told was my sister. Like, she was the first person I told. And then I told my best friend. But I didn't want to tell my mom yet for some reason. I don't know, like, I just wasn't ready to tell her yet. And so I want to say it was 2 months. I think it was November or October. No, it was 1 month. So at the end of October, I finally called my mom. I FaceTimed her and I showed her the pregnancy test, and she was so happy, y'all. Like, she was so happy, and I was so relieved, because I honestly did not know how she was gonna respond. So I'm just like, this is like it was a big relief, you know what I'm saying? And so we called his mom, and you know, she was like, what? Like, what you mean? And so and there was like total opposite reactions, because I thought my mom would have had that type of reaction, but she didn't. So that was that. But yeah, and my mom was like, why you ain't tell me first? Like, she was like, you tell your sister before me? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, me and my sister are like this. Like, I tell her everything. So it was just like second nature. Like, it was my first thought to tell my sister first. Like, sorry mom, sorry. But let's go back a little bit to me finding out at 2 weeks. So you actually are pregnant like the day that you ovulate. And I think it's like a week or something later, like whenever you have sex, basically after that ovulation week, and the egg, you know, and the sperm attaches itself to the egg, that's when you are technically pregnant. And so my last period was like August 23rd, and I think it was August 23rd, and I'm just like I wasn't thinking too much, I wasn't too much thinking, you know, of it for real. And so I think around September the 3rd or the 4th, one of those days, it was in that week, I was actually like very fertile. And so that's another reason why I say it literally was God, because for us to have that in our mind at the time that I'm actually fertile, and I didn't even like, you know, take account to it or anything, because I'm like, you know, like I just wasn't thinking too much about it, you know. I was fertile on that day. So technically, when I found out that I was pregnant, I was actually 4 weeks pregnant, because they counted from the day of your last period, which I didn't know. So yeah. But I was actually 4 weeks pregnant. But we went to the doctor and everything at 8 weeks, and this is not one of my oldest ultrasounds, but it's the newest one. So I'll show y'all this one of our son, and he's literally so cute, y'all. Like, I just already know he's so cute. And so fast forward to like I want to say the middle of October, I started having like pregnancy symptoms like real bad, y'all. I was in student teaching in college. It was my last semester, last semester, which is last year, was my last semester. And y'all, I literally was like so out of it. Like, I remember, but I don't remember exactly what happened. I was so nauseous, it was ridiculous. I'm like, bro, when is this ever gonna stop? Literally every morning I'm getting up to go to student teaching, nauseous as heck, like just not feeling good. So I'm like, dang, like I didn't know it was gonna hit me this hard. And y'all, before I had found out that I was actually pregnant, like before we took the pregnancy test, my husband seen me eating like a bunch of donuts, like them white powder donuts, and y'all, I had almost ate the whole bag. And he was like, babe, you pregnant? He was like, you pregnant? And I'm just thinking like, no, I'm not, because we would always joke like that, and he'll be like, you pregnant? Because I eat a lot. And so he wanted me to actually be pregnant, mind y'all. So he would just be like, you pregnant, man? Like, you pregnant? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I can't eat. So fast forward back to student teaching. I know this is like back and forth. I'm sorry, y'all. But y'all, every day I went to student teaching, I was so nauseous. And I didn't even tell the teacher that I was working with until like, I think a month later too. Because I'm just like, I just wasn't ready to tell nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, the only person I told was, like I said, was my best friend, my sister. So I'm like, I'm not really ready to tell nobody for real. I feel like she kind of knew something was off, but she didn't know exactly what it was. Like, is that my husband? No. So yeah, I'm waiting for my man to come home, okay? Like, but she didn't really ask me no questions. I feel like she thought I had COVID, or like, not COVID, but like she thought I was kind of sick, like I had the flu or something. I don't know, because I used to wear my mask all the time when I went in there, because them little kids be germy, they be sick. So snotty nose, everything. So I wore my mask every day. I would go there. I'm trying to, like, you know, keep my composure. I'm in there trying to drink soda because I read online that soda worked. I'm in there trying to eat my little crackers and sour candy, like every little thing, every food kind of thing. I'm in there trying to eat it, y'all. And I eventually told her, like, I think a month later, which was like October, and she was like, really? She was like, I knew it. She was like, I knew it. And I'm like, how? Like, what do you mean you knew? And she was just saying, like, how she seen me eating the crackers with the soda, like basically the food combinations that I was having, trying to get myself to not be nauseous. She noticed it, and she was like, I was just waiting for you to tell me. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, really? But she was really happy for me. So that wasn't like a thing or issue or whatever. I did not tell the principal literally until like 2 or 3 weeks before I left. So that was that. But I was so glad student teaching was over, y'all. Like, that was the whole thing, especially being pregnant in my first like trimester. Like, the symptoms I had was crazy, like boob soreness. That was like at an all-time high. Like, I just felt so sensitive and emotional, just mentally, like in general. I was super nauseous. I could not eat anything. The only thing I really could eat for real and actually enjoy was cereal. That's it. Everything else tastes so weird. Like, my taste buds just was off. Like, everything tastes like freaking nickel and iron. Like, I don't really know what that was. But what else? Fatigue. A whole lot of fatigue. I was tired every day getting up. And y'all, I had to get up for student teaching every single day, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 3 when I had to work. And so I had to get up at 6. That was too much. I don't know what I was thinking. But I was like, you know, clearly God got a plan, because we didn't just plant this in our own heads. Because we would have, if it was left up to me and my husband, we probably would have actually waited till our mid-20s. Because we had enough self-control to not, you know what I'm saying, accidentally get pregnant. So not like, you know, shading nobody. I'm just saying. And so yeah, like, that's pretty much the story of how I found out I was pregnant at 2 weeks. And if you watch this video all the way through, thank you, queen. Like, we locked in for real. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I will see y'all in my next one.